Welcome, first graders and second graders here. I am so happy that you guys are here today. We have such a special treat for you. We have Mrs. Ashley Kern here. She is a wonderful author. She's written at least just these two books that are so great. We've got both of them here. We've had them for a little while. I've read both of them. They are very awesome. Miss Ashley grew up in Greenville and she went to Clemson University, which is a wonderful thing if you like that color and all sorts of stuff. I'm sure it's great for those people. And no, I'm just teasing, of course. We love everybody and we're so happy that you guys are here. And remember, it's all about making sure that we're learning and growing each and every day and doing our absolute best. And so Ashley's going to talk to us a little bit about her books and about the process to go through all that. So we may even have some time for questions. I don't know. So just think about them for a few minutes and make sure that you're giving her all of your attention, okay? I know that you're a little bit kind of squished in here, but we're going to have a great afternoon, all right? So let's give a warm Pine Street welcome to Miss Ashley Kern.
So much. I am so excited to be here with you guys today and talk to you about these two books. This is awesome. So you'll see both of them right here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk to you a little bit about me and how I kind of got started with this. And like you said, my name is Ashley. I grew up in Greenville, South Carolina, not far at all from here. And being so close to Clemson University, I grew up going to all the football games since I was one. I would go to all the home games. Both my parents went to Clemson and both my grandfathers went to Clemson, so we say our blood runs orange. We're huge Clemson fans. I grew up going there and I graduated from Clemson. After I graduated, I moved to Charleston, South Carolina, where I live with my husband Matt and my two kids. We've got Ellery right here who's 5, she's over there, and then we got Corbin who's 4. And we live in Charleston, and when Ellery was born, I really wanted to get her every book that I could find about Clemson Tigers. But I wanted one that was about Clemson football, and I couldn't find any. There was nothing that I wanted to read a book to her before we went to a game that would tell her all the cool things that we were going to see the next day. But there wasn't any. So that's kind of how I got the idea for this book. I said, well, maybe I could write one. So I'll tell you guys a little bit about that process. Okay, first I have some really important questions and I want you guys to answer by raising your hand, okay? Who here is a Clemson Tiger fan? Okay, we got a lot. Okay, now my next question is, who is a Carolina Gamecock fan? Okay, that is awesome. Well, guess what? Here's what I'm thinking. We've got our Clemson fans. We've got our Carolina fans. Some of you might not like either team, and some of you might have a team that you like that's a totally different team. But I think I know something that we might all like. Let's see. Who likes this book? Who likes Christmas? Yeah? Okay. All right. Does anyone know what this book is called? Yes. Yes. This is exactly right. So, I use this book as a model for my book because my book is about two kids going to bed the night before a big Clemson game and they're super excited, and it goes through the next day all the fun stuff that they do. So I took the way that 'twas the night before Christmas, I took that rhyme and I kind of made it my own about Christmas. And you guys will get to see at the end, I'm going to read you both of my books so you'll get to see how it's a little bit similar and how it starts kind of like the night before Christmas. So I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about the writing process and how from start to finish, okay? My biggest takeaway that I want you guys to remember from today is if you want to be a good writer, you need to be a good reader. Okay, say it with me one more time. If you want to be a good writer, you need to be a good. That is exactly right, yes. Reading is where you're going to get all of your ideas from. I feel like it's where you're going to learn what characters you connect to, which illustrations you like, what kind of books that you really enjoy. It's going to be what gets your creative thoughts flowing and what would make you have some inspiration to maybe write your own book. So I always think that the biggest key to being a good writer is being a good reader. And I know some of you probably have written some stories for school, but one day I hope that one of you could write your own book And hopefully a lot of you could. And that is what I want you guys to remember too, is when I was your age, if someone told me that I would be an author when I grow up and have 2 published books, I would not have believed it. Because English wasn't my favorite subject, but I loved to read and I had a good imagination. So you guys can truly put anything that you put your mind to like that. And if you're a good reader, it could make you a great writer. And that's a big thing I want you to remember. Okay, the making of a story. It all starts with what do you guys think? Yes, it all starts with your idea seed. So kind of what I was telling you, when I had Ellery, I wanted a book that talked about all the cool things about a Clemson football day, but there wasn't any. So I said, you know what, I'm just gonna make one. And I decided to write my own book, and I'll go through that process with you. But another question I get a lot is, if you have a Clemson book, why do you have a USC book? They're different teams, they're rivals. Well, when I made my Clemson book, and I started selling it and talking to kids about it, everyone would say, what about USC? There needs to be a USC book. We got to have a Carolina book too. And so my cousin, who could not be here with us today, but she was a big part in this because she graduated from Carolina and she was a Carolina Gamecock. And she and I partnered together to write our USC book. And you know what? Don't tell any Clemson fans, but I started to like Carolina a lot after we got through this book process. Wait, listen. Listen. You didn't hear me finish. Yeah, we gotta love all the teams, but I'm still gonna pull for Clemson when Carolina and Clemson play together. But I did start to like them a little bit more than I had before because I started to learn a lot more about them. And it was a lot of fun being able to write both of these books and to write it with my cousin, because now there's a book for each big school in the state, which is really cool. Okay, so taking it from an idea to a first draft. The first thing that we got to do is, if we have a good idea, we wanted to get it on paper. So one thing that I always say is, if you have an idea notebook or an idea journal, whenever you guys get something good that you think of in your heads, write it down and make sure that you can remember that idea or that story for later. When I started writing about my Clemson book, I set a time that I wanted to brainstorm, and I thought about all the things I wanted to be in the book. I wanted the mascot in the book. I wanted the coach of the football team, Dabo, to be in the book. 2 kids, and then I wanted to talk about them running down the hill before a game. I started to think about all those things that I wanted, and I made a list. And then when I was going to make my first draft, I just made sure that I put all of those in there. The first draft can be tough because that's when you are having to kind of think about what story you want to tell. But you just got to use your imagination, and don't be afraid to borrow an idea too, like I did with 'Twas the Night Before Christmas. You can take inspiration from someone else's story and make it totally your own and totally different. Okay, revisions. This is what happens after we've got our first draft. It's always good to let someone that you love, a grown-up, a teacher, a friend, read over what you've done and see if they have any suggestions for your work. That always helps us to maybe fill in any holes in the story or figure out anything else we want to add or take away. Working with an illustrator, because let's see. Okay, first of all, who knows what an illustrator is? Okay, what is it?
Someone who writes.
Which one was that? Not someone who writes, but someone who
Draw.
draws. Yes. What is the name of someone who writes? Who writes a book? Yes.
I think illustrator should be the drawer because illustrator is a long word.
Okay, well, some writers write their books and illustrate their books, but I cannot draw at all. And if I were to have drawn all the pictures in my books, guess what? They would all be stick figures, and you guys wouldn't want to read it. It would not be good illustrations. So, no, I had to find someone else to do it. And listen to this. I wanted someone to illustrate this Clemson book that had been to these games and have seen these places that I wanted to be made into an illustration. So I reached out to the school and I found a student at Clemson who was an art student who was able to do the illustrations for me. So that way he knows the campus, he knows the places I'm talking about, and it was a great fit. And I worked really closely with him throughout this process. And what I would do is I would send him what was going to be on each page, the words that I was going to have on each page, and then I would make a note of what I wanted the illustration to be. Like, here's an example. Number one, does anyone know who this is? You. Who is it? Oh, that's the Panthers. You're close. Which, yep. Yes, but what's his name? Anybody know? Okay. So Gamecocks get a little confusing. They've got Cocky, the mascot, and this is Sir Big Spur, who recently went through a name change, but is now back to Sir Big Spur. So this is Sir Big Spur, and he is a rooster that lives in Edgefield, South Carolina, that attends every USC football game. So, yeah. So when we were making these illustrations, we said we want to feature the Gamecocks running out, smoke and fire, and we need Sir Big Spur in there. So our illustrator is able to take these ideas and these pictures and these notes and take it from this to this. So I feel like he did a great job kind of capturing exactly what we were looking for. And the illustration process, it kind of starts off a little bit like we were talking about with the writing process when we talked about we have an idea and then what do we do after that? The first draft. So when he sent me the first draft, this is what it looked like. It's called the storyboard. That's what the illustrators call it. And it's black and white and without a lot of detail in it. And look right here, I'll show you guys this. See this C right here? I'll show you something about it in a second. So it doesn't have a lot of detail, and then what I would do is I would give him notes based on this, what things I wanted to change. For instance, this C. My cousin said that C looks like a Clemson C, and this was our storyboard for the South Carolina book, and she said there needs to be a Gamecock in the middle of that C. So you'll see in a second where he added that. Then as he would get our illustrations back, they would get a little more detailed, they would get a little more color to them until eventually this is what it all looks like. And you'll see he added the Gamecock in that C there. And we're gonna read this book in a little while, so you guys will get to see all of it, but you can just kind of see how it goes from one to the other. It's a big change from the black and white one that you guys saw, right? Okay, now this is an important character in the book. This is my dog, Bear. Can everyone say, "What's up, Bear?" What's up, Bear? Yes. This is Bear, and my illustrator was able to take this picture of my bear and turn him into this. I mean, how great did he do?
Really good.
He does look like a bear, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Okay, let me give you another example of what the illustrator was able to do. One thing that I really wanted, I wanted the two kids in my Clemson book to look like my kids. And so I gave my illustrator this picture of my daughter Ellery when she was little, and he was able to kind of make her into this character. And I feel like he did a great job with that too. So I would work very closely with this illustrator creating these cool images, and I got to think up these characters myself, and we kind of partnered together that way. And it was great because he did so much more with it than I ever could have if I tried to draw it. Okay, I'm gonna read the USC book to you guys, and then I'll follow up with the Clemson one after that, okay? All right, and you guys will see they're very similar, but each one has kind of, it features all the different things about these schools, okay? So this is 'Twas the Night. Yeah, his name's Bear. Okay, 'Twas the night before game day, Carolina Gamecocks. 'Twas the night before game day when all through the land not a creature was stirring, not even Carolina band. We set out our game day outfits with care, thinking of Williams-Brice Stadium and how soon we'd be there. As we lay nestled all snug in our beds, visions of Carolina winds danced through our heads. So that was my cousin's dog. Bear's in the Clemson book. I'll show you when he comes. We awoke in the morning and put on our garnet and black, hoping to celebrate a victory on the way back. With family and friends, we tailgated at the fairgrounds all day, enjoying lots of yummy food and so much time to play. At Gamecock Walk, we saw the players, cheerleaders, and band. We cheered and high-fived them before heading to the stands. We walked through Cockaboose Railroad, our favorite place to be. Gamecock flags flying everywhere were such a sight to see. The band played 2001 as the stadium screamed. We watched Cocky appear from his box with magic, it seemed. As our favorite mascot, Sir Big Spur, perched on his roost, through fireworks and smoke, the Gamecocks were introduced. A touchdown and field goal struck up the band. We cheered as the rooster crow echoed loud in the stands. We jumped up as sandstorms started to blare and spun our rally towels high in the air. After a Carolina win, we wrapped our arms around each other and sang, "The alma mater forever to be it rang." That night we laid in our beds and smiled with such delight, a perfect game day for all, and for all a good night. You saw the moon, right? Okay, so that is the end of the Gamecock one. And now we've got one more coming up with the Clemson one, but I think I might have had some people that we wanted to introduce. Maybe they'll be back in a minute, okay? Let's see. All right, so here's the Clemson one. 'Twas the night before game day, Clemson Tigers. And here we go, there's Bear. Okay, ready? 'Twas the night before game day when all through the land not a creature was stirring, not even Tiger Band. We set out our game day outfits with care, thinking of Clemson and how soon we'd be there. As we lay nestled all snug in our beds, visions of Tiger wins danced through our heads. We awoke in the morning with such delight, we brushed our teeth, combed our hair, and dressed in orange, purple, and white. We packed up the car, put on the flags and tiger tail, and hoped Clemson traffic wouldn't move like a snail. And if any of you have ever been to Clemson, you probably know what I mean, right? It's a lot of traffic there. Okay. There we go. We walked through Tiger Town, our favorite place to be. Homecoming floats on Bowman Field were such a sight to see. With family and friends, we tailgated all day, enjoying lots of yummy food and so much time to play. At Tiger Walk, we saw the players and heard the band. They played Tiger Rag, the song that shakes the Southland. We cheered from the stands as players touched Howard's Rock, running down the hill before the game time clock. Football games are so exciting when fans cheer and roar. Cadence count starts up again. 1, 2, 3, 4. A touchdown and field goal struck up the band. We watched the Tiger mascot do push-ups from the stands. Dabo high-fived the players again and again. We hoped our favorite coach would lead us to another big win. After a Clemson victory, fans rushed the field and sang, "The alma mater through Death Valley it rang." Whether we watch in the stands or on the TV, the magic of Clemson is always so exciting to see. That night, we climbed into bed and squeezed our stuffed tigers tight. A perfect game day for all, and for all, a good night. Thank you guys so much. I had some special friends that wanted to meet you too. I don't know if they're here yet because what we're about to do is I think we're going to practice some cheers for each team. Does that sound fun? All right. Okay, before we get to our cheers, let's do a couple of questions, okay? What team was it? Like who were they playing for the games? So I made it to kind of be whatever they're playing that day because you know what? I wanted it to be a book that could be read before any Clemson or USC game and it would get everybody excited for the next game. So I didn't make it against any specific team. Yes. Oh my goodness. Have I read or have I written? I've read a lot of books. And I hope you guys have all read a lot of books too, because if you want to be a good writer, you need to be a good reader. Yes. Yes. Clemson, 100%. Yeah, you in the yellow? How long did it take me? Oh, that's a great question. Okay. How long do you guys think it took me to write this book from the time I thought it in my head until the time I was holding it? What do we think? 24 what? No. What about you? In the Carolina shirt. No. No, guys, way longer than that. 5 what? No. Oh, guys. Okay. Let's think way bigger. Think months and months. Nope. Okay, let me tell you. So it took me 1 year. It took me 1 year from the time I thought about the book until I was holding the book. Because you know what? Writing it, think about when you read a chapter book and how long that would take to write. It would take so long. Because you know what? Mine's only 24 pages and it took a year, but it's not even just because it took that long because of writing. The publishing process, like going through and working with the publisher to get the words on the page and to get them printed just right, it just takes a while. Okay, we'll do 2 more questions and then we're going to do our fun cheers, okay? Yes.
How old were you when you started making books? How old were you when you started making books?
I was 34 when I did my first book.
How old are you?
I'm 37. Yeah. Last question, okay? So I wrote these 2 books, but I'm hoping to write more books about different colleges later. You know, I get these questions a lot. I got a lot of books that I'm going to go. Yes. Okay, guys. I have one special thing that we're going to do. And I heard that your principal is a Gamecock fan, so I might need his help with this part because we're going to do the USC cheers. And he's probably a bigger pro at them than I am. So, and correct me if I'm wrong, but what I hear is that when we're doing the USC cheers, they do a song called Sandstorm where you have towels. And if the ones that don't have towels, since we don't, isn't this it? Yes, we put this up in the air whenever we're doing this part, okay? All right. Ready?
Feel the whole stadium.
Yes. Yay! You guys have got it down. I like it. Woo! I love that. Yes. Thank you. Give a big hand to your principal. That was awesome. Okay. Now we're going to try to do the Clemson one, but I think I might need a little help. I think we might have someone real cool to help. So let's see if we can have some help for some of our Clemson cheers from somebody.